Tired. It's late at night. Not really while I'm recording this, it's daytime. Wait, who knows nighttime? But if I can find the footage and get it all done and stuff, then yeah. If not, well then too bad. But yeah, I got the embarrassing stuff captured on footage. That's just how bright I was. Everyone else was telling stories about going outside in their underwear, or Terry's little brother had they had a stone wall in their downstairs. And so then Terry's younger brother got the bright idea he was going to run at Terry and smack his head into him, right into his gut. The Terry person I'm talking about jumped out of the way and he smacked his head into the wall. That was his embarrassing story. You know, some things. Justin's was he kept jumping out of like a 2-story window and gave his little sister the same bright idea. So she tried to jump out the window, but then they had to call 911. Yeah. Pretty interesting. But as we're sitting, hold on, segueing it, I gotta remember what I was telling you guys about. Oh yeah, Gina. So he was talking about, no, Jerry, no, that's the guy's name. I'm gonna call her Jaden, because that's a girl's name, and definitely not her real name. So Jaden Johnson. And he was like, oh, JJ! And he was getting so upset at me. After calling me Mitchell, I decided to go like, oh yeah, it's JJ. And so, like, after telling the Judge Parker story, I kept calling him Judge Judy. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's also JJ. He gives me the death stare, and goes back to whatever he was doing at the time. Just death stare. And yeah, that's basically how it went. Oh, and you know how I was telling you all about how we were playing werewolf? I was actually here and he was there. And so we're both dead. And this kid next to me, we'll call him Winston. Why not? The ape off of Overwatch. So I'm sitting there, and it's like, werewolf, look up. And I look over, and Winston looks up. And oh man, I'm coming up with so many fake names at this point. It sounds like I'm telling a fake story, but it's really not. It's real people with fake names. So Winston looks up, and then, crap, what was his name? It's not his real name, so I can't remember it easily. Justin is like, oh, Winston! And it's like, that's it, we're not playing anymore. And it was like, but why? And it's like, cause you and your brother, yes, he had a brother. He wasn't quite as annoying, but he had a brother there. And they both kept picking on the Winston kid. This was all their first year. And it was like, Winston, and then, like, he had to go. It was like, finally, now that he's gone, we can actually play and, you know, not have any interruptions like that. Brother starts playing, he's being a poor sport, he gets lynched, and then he gets all upset about it. Then runs away all upset, and then later comes back, and he's like, oh yeah, that person's the werewolf. So we're like, you know what, we're done playing. We're not playing the rest of our lives at Scout Camp. That's how bad it was. Like, if either of them are there, we're not playing. Just too bad. We're not playing. Oh, my biggest problem with them. You know blackjack? Either way, I'm going to tell you. You get one card face up, and then one card face down. You don't know the card that's face down until the end where you got to flip it over. That thing. And then if you're good, if that card hasn't equaled 21 yet, then you hit it again, and again, and again, until you get to 20... Well, until you get to 21, and then you go, like, then you're out, because anything over 21 is not good, because, yeah. So you gotta get it right as close to 20 as you can, highest number wins. We weren't betting, even though we all brought snacks to bet, because we were all so lazy we didn't want to bet. And that's called blackjack, you know? And what does he call it? 21 poker. Yeah, anyone who at all plays cards just had a collective sigh. 21 poker. I turn to him and I say, 21 Pilots? He's like, no, 21 Poker. And I'm like, 21 Pilots? I love that band, because I really do. He's like, no, 21 Poker. And I'm like, 21 Pilots? That's awesome. I'm like, oh, are you talking about blackjack? And he's like, well, no. So we wouldn't let him play because, you know, he'd just ruin it. But we played Texas Hold'em. That's where, you know, get 5 cards, 3, 4, 5, and then you take out however many, and then you replace them. Not right now. That's how that one goes, and you know, whatever. I forgot what I was segueing. You see, this is the problem with telling one long story in one long episode. Maybe 2 long episodes. I don't know what I'll do. If it's way too long, it'll be 2 episodes. If it's not, then it'll just be 1. But we're sitting there. He's like, 21 Poker. And I'm like, 21 Pilots? I freaking love that. But we wouldn't let him play. Because, you know, he'd just ruin it. Because, you know, we let him play once before and he still ruined it. So that's how that went. And I was getting really upset at him at the end. And at the end, the only time I wanted to spend time with him, and I couldn't. It was strange to me. But what I wanted to do was use and this was when I was getting so upset with everyone else. They were like, quit talking about anime. You only talk about anime. I say twice. Talked about anime twice. I was talking about putting honey on meat to tenderize it. And when I was talking, actually I don't remember the first time, but I do remember it was twice. Only twice. Talking about tenderizing meat, and that was it. That was what it was. And everyone's like, yo, you keep talking about anime. Anime's stupid. And I'm like, you know what? Just shut up. And I'm certain that Nowhere, or Daniel, he'll say that this story is a lie because he normally does whenever it's something about him and he's being a wimp or something. But everyone's sitting there and they're talking about, what will you do when you message everyone? Not message everyone, I just told you what I was doing. It was like, what will you do when you get home? And I'm like, you know, message the girls I chat with. And then Daniel, or Nowhere, he's like, who? Your mom? Your aunt? Your grandma? And I'm like, shut up. So I turned to my buddy Zeke, or Zeke's younger brother, because now I've completely messed up names. And so I'm like, you know all of them. It's, and I'll just give you the RP names that we have. But it's Soul, Honey, and Jiffany. Those of you who watch Gravity Falls may know who that is, but I did not. So I don't know who that is. And then, like, they're talking about, I don't know what I'll name her. Sarah. We'll call her Sarah. She's so annoying. She's, like, really mean and annoying, and I'm like, you know what? She's not that bad. And Daniel's sitting over there, and he's like, oh, who do we call it? He's like, in 3rd grade, Ashley, we'll call her. He's like, oh yeah, Ashley pulled a knife on me. And I turn and I'm like, that's why I like her. He just shut up immediately. And I'm like, and he didn't say anything bad about me the rest of the day. He kept talking about how your hair's gay. You watch too much anime. Oh no, he's freed. Good thing that you're getting exercise. You kinda need it. No, that's just sitting in that chair all day. That just looks terrifying. And he's off watering trees. Yes, that's the cover story. But like, he was sitting there and he's like, oh, Ashley pulled a knife on me in 3rd grade. And I whip around and I'm done with him because he's talking about my hair being gay. me talking to me messaging my mom, my aunt, my grandma. So I turn around, I whip to him, and I yell, well, not really yell, I just whip around. No, wait, I was sitting here because that bench was really bad. I whip around, and I go, that's why I like her. I go back to, no, wait, no. I was over here because that's where Zeke and Zeke's younger brother like to hang out. So I turn and I'm like, that's why I like her. And I go back to talking with him. He was not making fun of me the rest of that day. It was just great. And he knew that I kind of meant it because of how bad he was making, how upset he was making me. And the fact that I actually had a knife in my pocket because we're all Boy Scouts and all. We all had knives. We all played with knives and flint and steel and stuff. On the drive home, we were, hanging out. Daniel was really making me upset because all week, all I would hear is, your hair is gay. You hang out with a gay guy. You're an idiot. And I'm sitting there and I'm just done with it. Hearing him speak is just making me a little bit more upset. I gotta fix that because it's a little bit annoying not jumping from there to there. He's like, you hang out with a gay guy. And so, even when he was just talking, I was getting really upset at him. And I'm pretty sure he could kind of see it. So he, drifted off to sleep. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking out the window. And I'm thinking, you know what? Girls are smarter than guys. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's why I like girls more than guys. And the song didn't really get annoying until, this guy, this Justin, starts going, hey, John, no, wait, why not? Hey, John, yeah? Hey, John, yeah? Show me how you wiggle. And it'd be like, no, I'm good. So he'd turn to me and he'd be like, hey, Mike. And I'd be like, no. Hey, Mike. And he'd be like, I'm not doing it. And he'd stop. And then he could, on the last day, on the last flag ceremony, we had to sing that, getting ready for the fire bowl thing, burning of the flags. 2 years ago, at the burning of the flag, there were these two kids with laser pointers, and this got me so upset. As it should. So I started saying it, but so 2 years ago, during our last flag ceremony, this was when I was 12 or something, I don't know, 12, 13, who knows. There were these two kids with laser pointers, and they were that bright. During the flag ceremony, literally right as they were burning the flags, they were sitting there, goofing off with a beam this bright, blinding everyone in the ceremony. Really? You just don't do that thing. So luckily there was no one this year, but, on our way to the flag ceremony, Justin, like always, he was sitting there, why'd they stop the Wiggle-O? And it was like, oh, some kid accidentally hit the other one. It's like, what kind of idiot does that? And I'm like, you're not to talk, He's, the entire time he was being a huge idiot. He's like, well, what kind of idiot would do that? And I'm just sitting there, staying quiet, he's really asking for it. And it's like, oh, some kid punched another kid, and it's like, what kind of idiot does that? Yeah, I've said that 15 times now, and I'm sure it's being boring for everyone. But that's what he says as we're walking to camp, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, good. He's like, what? He's sitting there, that was the last time you were going to Wiggle-O. And someone says to him, you could always do it at the beginning of each scout meeting. And I'm sitting there, don't give him ideas. Because I'm not with the younger scouts, I'm with the young men, not young scouts. Okay? I'm trying to enjoy camping. Yeah, that's how it went. Okay, this will be 2 separate videos. But he's sitting there, and it's so annoying. Just, ready to kill someone, who knows. go down to Riflery, have a little accident. Oh, that reminds me. So let's say, at Riflery, we had a target that was, oh, say, this big. And then we were from about, like, with the scope, it would look about this, a little bit more, this far away. No, still not quite. Okay, this far away. If you could see that, you know, if everything was bright, you could see that. The targets were that small on a paper that was about this circle long. So like right now you could kind of see that little area in between the cloud and the camp. That's about how big the piece of paper was. And somehow, while we're sitting there, this was Scout Shoot. And it was like, who's taking the merit badge? And Justin raises his hand, and I'm like, ooh, let's see his shooting if he's so good. Hearing noises. I'm sitting there thinking, let's see his shooting. You know, we were clear over there. Hiked up the mountain thing. Luckily we didn't have to go up Cardiac Hill. For those who know what I'm talking about, it was Bartlett. And there was this Cardiac Hill. For those who know what I'm talking about, Cardiac Hill is bad. Just summed up with bad. We just went to this area where they told us a little bear story, and that was it. You know, went back to our camp. Yawning. So good. And so we went back to our camp and all. But then we went to, but it was like, do you guys want to go to the troop shoot? And it was like, yeah, why not? And his spacing was so bad. And that target that I showed you, let's say, boom, boom. Nope, can't quite. Boom, 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 boom. Like, the targets were that big. His spacing was more like this. Hold on. That's 5. That's what his spacing looked like. And you're thinking, but that's only 9 shots. Usually they give you 10. On my paper, I'm going to do this a bit larger so that you could actually, you know, a bit wider and all. You know, about that. No, okay. Do you mean that this would go like here? So in the spacing, I got everything in that one, except like it looked more like that, kind of, in the first one. And then the second one, it kind of looked like, no, not quite. Kind of like that. We each had 10 shots. And then during the, like, this little area, it said, hey, you could earn a free hunting license. Just send stuff in. He shot right there on mine. That was how good of a crack shot he was. It was like, hey, is anyone taking class? He raises his hand, and I'm like, damn. He thought that he was better than me in, like, every way. I got yawn again. But the one time I wanted to talk to him and couldn't was I wanted to put him through a little test. It's Death Note. Oh boy. He's talking about anime again. But in Death Note, this investigator L comes to light, who's the main protagonist, who has a Death Note, who's been killing off criminals. Spit. He's been killing off criminals. And so, to do the test, he's made prisoners write 3 suicide letters that when you put the top line together, it reads, L, do you know? Shinigami love apples. And all of them had a clear numbering on the back that was wrong. Clear print number that was wrong. And if you set them up in the way the print number showed, then it would say, it would have an incomplete message. And so he introduced a fourth, and it was like, oh, do you know Shinigami who love apples also have red hands? And he's sitting there thinking, I didn't write this. It was a trap. And they're going on about it. I was gonna do that. If he could even figure out that there was a secret message without me telling him, I would have given him props and all. Except they could never really do the test, because, you know, separate cars on the drive back. And I told you all about the drive back. But just for a little show, here's our car. Okay, we're driving down the road. There's like this one car. No, wait, there's this one car like back here. My scout person pulls in front of him, and he honks at us. He's like 3 cars back. He honks at us. So then while we're at this like red light and all on. While we're at this red light, we're sitting there, he's sitting there. My scout leader guy, not the full scout leader, just one of them. The guy looks over, the guy points, and then this guy in the car flips us off as the light turns green and we roll away. Everyone thought that it was super funny. I didn't find it too amusing though. Oh, you got flipped off. Oh wow. I don't know why. People thought that was just funny. Somehow. Who knows anymore? That was most of my camp experiences. Oh yeah, now I remember. So that one kid I was telling you about, we had zipped up our tent. He was throwing rocks at my tent. You know, throwing rocks, it would hit the tent, bounce off. He came over, kneed in this side of the tent. The tent looked a little bit more like, you know, a dome would. You know, like most tents would. That was not right. Kind of has a dome look. Okay? You can stop me whenever you realize that I'm talking about a dome look. Just building out of dirt, that's what the tent looked like. He completely knees in the side, and it looks something a little bit closer to that. Yeah, he kneed in that side. And so I thought he had walked off and all. No, not that part. Just right there. We thought he had walked off, but then all of a sudden he knees in that side and knees Daniel right in the eye. Right in the eye. He was talking to me yesterday. He apparently had bruising, and he's like, you know what, if I lose sight, I'm gonna sue. I know exactly who to sue. And the thing is, it's not like speculation, oh, it had to have been him. No, he yells, he yells, I forget exactly what he yells. He yelled something, and he like swore, I forget what word he swore in. And then the Justin, that's what we called him, he says, sorry, Daniel. We knew exactly who it was because no one else sounded like him. So he was sitting there, oh, sorry, Daniel. And I was like, the frick, if he broke my tent. Because, you know, who knows, we'll have to patch that thing up with wood. So, you know, there's my tent and all. Looks all nice and fancy. With the dirt door. We're sitting there, you know, sleeping. Oh. If I wake up, am I gonna die? No. Look at that. Whoa! Sorry, I just found a glitch and I thought it was really funny. I don't know how this happens. Does it work on Daniel's side? Because, yeah, this is the exact sleep. Oh, yeah. That's odd. So now you know how to pull off that glitch. Put it in the ground with a chest in between, wool surrounding it on every single side except for the top, and boom, you got it. But like, he's just, sorry, Daniel. And I'm like, you know what? If you dare broke my tent. Oh, the funniest part, I have to bring this up. I had a walking stick. So, you know, I was going around, walking with it. My left ankle was hurting, so this would be in the other side. I was running around with it, walking around. He kept on stealing my stick. At one point, when the fire was out, like in the middle of the day, I found it just sitting there. You know, leaning on one of those logs, just sitting there. And I'm like, the freak who threw it in there? And then, look, the one person, I forget what I called him, Justin, he's like, oh, that was me. And I'm like, do you want to die? The funniest part is that the video clip ended there, right as I said, do you want to die? So I came up with this, I found out this one story where we were sitting there and we were talking, and apparently Justin broke his clavicle, and you know how Steve is 2 blocks tall and all. He smacked the tree like this. And so then, he like flattened out like that, and you know, pretty interesting. And we were talking, and I found out 5 days ago from posting this video, just that he had, that was him. I had not known. And apparently Daniel doesn't tell me anything. And I also told other stories, but I'm not sure if this video captured it. Everyone, just like, since I'm tired, I will go off to bed. Good night, everyone. Like, subscribe, comment.